Welcome back, my lovelies. This is Leo, and I'm with GoneWithTheWin.com. I do not have an accent, but I have something better. For the last 30 years, I've been doing nothing but playing video games, and now my useless hobby is your benefit as we take a look at Planetbase today. Planetbase is a city builder, well, in space, and it has a couple of interesting features. First and foremost, you have to understand this is not SimCity. This is a challenging city builder, much like Banished. What we're going to do here today is, instead of a playthrough, walkthrough, I'm just going to do a straightforward video review, give you an idea of the game. Basically, the essence of it is base building. Once you get that down, there is no story to give away. There is no gameplay surprises. I want to give you a good look at this game, which I enjoyed very, very much, and not give away too much with strategies or how to get your base going, your colony going, and just give you a few tips. In essence, everything on this lovely red world is trying to kill you. The sun is trying to kill you. There's no oxygen. You'll die. Your colonists will die out there. There's no food. They will die of dehydration. They will die of starvation. They will get hit in the head with a meteor. They will die because they're too tired. They will die because they didn't have enough fun. There'll be a solar flare, and these little colonist snowflakes will melt. Basically, you're going to have to trust me. Everything is trying to kill you in this game. However, everything that you have at your disposal is meant to save your colonists and make it thrive. You cannot just throw everything down and expect a booming base to come about. You're going to have to plan and do things with some intelligence. So if you don't have intelligence or patience, this is not a game I would recommend for you. Now, right now, I know exactly what I need to put in the base. I've done this several times, so I know that my colonists need a table to eat on. They need a water fountain to drink out of. They need a food machine to get their food from, and a TV to entertain themselves. I will go ahead and plop those down. My initial base build is pretty much like the tutorial, which I highly recommend everyone do. It tells you exactly what you need to start off, and it's pretty dead on. You need to have a bed, you need to have oxygen, etc., and they kind of need to be laid out in that order. Once you get things going slightly, that's when you're going to have to adjust your strategy and figure out what you need to build next. I like to use the charts. I like to go by how much power I'm using, how much water I'm using, which ones are starting to dwindle down, and start to sort of plan ahead before I start running out of power or water. Because once that starts to happen, you could have a cascading problem where you don't have enough water for your plants. You don't have if you don't have plants, you don't have food. If you don't have food, people start to die. And if you lose the wrong person at the wrong time, your whole colony could start to die. Colonists themselves come in a few different types. There's workers, biologists, engineers, and doctors, as well as guards. You have to balance these guys correctly. If you do not, the results will be disastrous. Here is an example of what I mean by disaster. I ran out of wind and solar power, so areas of my base started to shut down. There's not enough water now. It's too late to save those plants. They just died overnight. My base is just in panic mode. I got robots that don't work anymore. I have biologists that are trying to make food, but since everything has just gone to the crapper, people are starting to die. People have run out of. I didn't also realize that I ran out of bed space, so I quickly tried to rush and add more beds, but it was too late. The cascading destruction or self-destruction of my base had already commenced. The important thing with Planetbase, as I mentioned, and this is the most rewarding part of it, is that planning and being careful and studying what's going on in your environment and actually building a good base is rewarding. You just have to have the patience for it and have to know which area needs to be built next. If you do things correctly and if you plan things correctly, your base can grow exponentially, and it becomes a little harder to manage when it's really, really big. It gets cumbersome, the camera, the 3D angles, but you will feel, or you should feel, like, man, I really did something. Because it took me hours to honestly build a base that had about 100 colonists, and another 2 or 3 more hours to construct a structure called the Monolith, which is something straight out of Space Odyssey, but it is a useless, gigantic piece, sort of to signify your greatness, and it's one of the milestones in the game. The more milestones you unlock, the other planets you can visit, which are harder versions of your starting Mars-type planet. The graphics, as you can see, are adequate. The music, there's pretty much just one track that plays and puts an air of mystery and wonder over each mission. But that's not what this game is about. It is not a graphic intensive game. What's there is it looks nice and it involves you in what's going on. But the meat of the game is in itself surviving and being smart about your base planning. One of the biggest downsides for Planetbase is its perhaps variety. Once you've mastered building a huge base, once you've gone over to the other planets and there's less sun or there's less wind, and you've mastered those obstacles, which is pretty much just compensating for the lack of another thing, there's not much else to do. I assure you, once you have mastered those things, about 50 or 60 hours will probably have gone by for some, maybe 30 or 40 for others, making this game a very safe investment. You will enjoy, if you enjoy city building, you will enjoy this game, you will get into it, you will patiently master its nuances, and what more can you ask for a game but for hours and hours of entertainment? So if you've always dreamed of leading hundreds and hundreds of people to outer space, to land on a mysterious planet as they carve out a new life for themselves, a rewarding life, only to have you also passive aggressively lead them to their doom, then this is the game that your black heart has been desiring for many, many years. For those looking for a fun and entertaining city builder, Planetbase might also be for you. As always, I go into further detail with more explanation on Planetbase at our site, www.GoneWithTheWin.com. Pop on over, take a look, and if you still have any questions, it'll probably be answered in the review. Want to thank everyone once again for watching us, and as always, we really appreciate your feedback, good or bad. We try to grow and adapt based on what you're telling us. Same thing with this developer. They've done 4 updates just based on user feedback. Subscribe if you like what you heard, and as always, visit us at www.GoneWithTheWin.com.